The CS2 market crash is over, but only in some skins. If we look at the Bayonet Fade, clearly it's had a big dip off the update, still potentially not bottomed in price, but if we look at the Bayonet Doppler, you can't even really tell that it had a crash. Sure, there's a slight decrease, but it's nothing crazy and it's already bounced back. For a lot of items in the market, we had seen the dip get bought up quickly, but it does look like the market is still bleeding for now, which isn't too surprising. Right after a big scary dip, a lot of people slowly selling just to be safe and take profits does make sense, but this is far from over. Before we get into it, let me tell you about the best way to buy CSGO skins. CSGO Empire has a ton of skins listed at cheaper than buff price, and you might be thinking, isn't that a gambling site? Partially, but not entirely. They have an entire marketplace dedicated to peer-to-peer buying and selling with 0% fees, and if you sort by the best deals, you'll easily find stuff cheaper than buff. As you can see here, these gloves are 3.36% off. You can easily flip them for profit, and Empire also offers any deposit method you could think of, including many different cryptos and real money options. And you're able to withdraw with all of these options, including USDC, which you could turn to cash instantly. Of course, there's no wager requirement on any deposit either, so be sure to check them out with that link in the description and start getting skins for cheaper than buff today. First off, let me just say the skins that seem to be getting hit the hardest were the most overhyped ones, or ones that were at or above all-time highs. For example, the M4 Blue Phosphor. It was at its all-time high at the beginning of the month that was higher than 6 months ago when CS2 first got announced, and it also had one of the biggest dips percentage-wise of all skins off this update, but it's still at a really good price. The Deagle Blaze, on the other hand, despite not being anywhere near the absurd 1350 peak it hit, it's still an overhyped skin, I would say, and I don't know why it blew up so much, but it got hit really hard as well. But when you compare that to something like Dopplers and Gamma Dopplers, we haven't seen them hit as hard at all, and I think it's flat out because they look better off in CS2 and they're gonna have a lot more demand because of that, not as many sellers especially. A Deagle Blaze doesn't really have that, but the Blue Phosphor, for example, does as well, and that's why sure, it had a big dip, but it's still over double the price off the initial CS2 hype. It's one of the best performing skins, if not the best. It's like probably the best one I've looked at. It's increased well over double in price since the initial CS2 hype. So don't let this big scary red day and this big percentage drop scare you. It's still one of the best performers out there because it simply looks a lot better and it's going to have more demand and probably less sellers. And I don't think that's going to change long term. I still think Dopplers and skins that look better in CS2 are really going to be the best performing skins. I mean, if you take a Doppler versus a Force DD I really think the Doppler is going to perform better, but that's for skins. For stickers, if you think the Paris stickers aren't going to double at 17 cents a capsule, I'd be shocked. And I'll get into that later in the video. Note that gems are a bit of an exception here for the moment because they have much lower supply and are always going to be a lot more volatile. The Butterfly Emerald notably losing anomaly like 15 grand because he owns like 6 or 7 of them, but that's really the only emerald I've seen with that much of a disaster in price off this update. The Karambit Emerald, for example, is barely even down, so I think it just says the Butterfly was really overvalued if anything. Also note that normal Gamma Dopplers of both the Butterfly and Karambit haven't crashed in price at all, similar to the normal Dopplers, and that's just further proof that there's a lot of demand for them. It's an interesting thing to keep an eye on. But I don't think the pain is over necessarily. We could chop in price for a while and just go sideways in skins or slightly down. Cases hopefully are going to continue to do well with no new case or skins released. And then once we get the operation, I think all of that is going to change, not only for cases, but skins are probably going to get another dip as well, as people are going to want to move their money around. And if you think, hey, I don't think that's going to affect the market that badly. Surely people aren't going to sell skins to buy new stuff. They're just going to spend money on the new stuff. For comparison, people have opened almost 500 million Paris capsules, and those are just stupid sticker capsules in game. Imagine an Operation Pass, Operation Stars, a new case, all of that in CS2 with a boosted player count. Of course, there's going to be people selling their stuff on the Steam market, especially just to get Steam balance to buy stuff, and that's going to cause a huge crash in the market, I assume, especially with cases and bulk stuff that people just have sitting around in their inventory ready to sell to accumulate some Steam balance. Like, it will affect the market when we get an operation, and I don't think it's going to affect it positively, at least for the first couple of days. After that, who knows? It could bounce back quick, could take a while. First couple of days, I think, are going to be rough. But if you're not afraid to hold for a long time or you have money sitting in cash, capitalizing off that is probably not a bad game plan. But as we saw in the dip this time, certain items got hit much harder, and we can see where the demand is currently. And it seems like people like their Dopplers and Gamma Dopplers. Keep an eye on those, keep an eye on how other stuff reacts in the market, and then do whatever works for your game plan. Whether you want to move your money around from maybe sticker capsules to skins, if you want to move it from stuff that's crashed harder, like the stickers are very cheap right now. If you want to move your money into that, clearly there's a lot of demand for them. They've been open an obscene amount more than all the other major capsules. Clearly people like these stickers. They've just been in the game for a very long time. So once again, don't let those big red days, those like 30% drops over the past month scare you, because people clearly like these stickers. And I don't think the capsules are staying at 17 cents like the instant these things get removed from the game. So just keep that in mind, but who knows when they'll get removed, so you've got time. But once again, thanks to CSGO Empire for sponsoring. If you guys want to check them out, be sure to do it with that link at the top of the description. But for now, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.